Students, welcome you all in today's class. Today's topic is blood clotting. As you all know that blood plays a very important role in transporting many things from one place to another in our body. It is transported in blood vessels. Now, if these blood vessels are ruptured, then this blood loss can be prevented by a mechanism which is known as blood clotting. This blood clotting time varies in different organism and it depends on the level of injury. It is generally 6 to 8 minutes. Actually, for the clotting purpose, blood contains many proteinaceous inactive factors which at the time of blood loss becomes active and they support or help in blood. The activation of these blood clotting factor occurs in a sequential manner. Sequential manner means one factor activate the other, which in turn activate the next one. This process continues and this mechanism is known as cascade mechanism. That is, blood contains various inactive factors which at the time of clotting activate each other. Blood clotting occurs in three main steps. First, formation of prothrombin activator. Second, conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. And the third step is conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. Now the first mechanism, that is first step, conversion of formation of prothrombin activator. This is a multi-step process. Multi-step means it occurs in various steps and this prothrombin activator is formed by two mechanisms, that is extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic mechanism. Whenever any platelet or tissue is injured, then it releases thromboplastin. This thromboplastin, in the presence of 7th factor, converts 10th active factor. This 10th active factor releases prothrombin activator, which triggers the step number 2, that is conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. One more mechanism occurs for the formation of prothrombin activator. This mechanism is known as intrinsic mechanism. In intrinsic mechanism, whenever blood comes in contact with collagen of blood vessel, that means blood vessels, that is arteries, veins, etc., are made up of 3 layers. The outermost layer is known as tunica externa. The blood is flowing in these blood vessels. Whenever these walls get ruptured and blood comes in direct contact with tunica externa, which is made up of collagen fiber, then this mechanism occurs. This mechanism is cascade mechanism, in which one factor is stimulating the other to become active in a definite sequence. The sequence is whenever blood comes in contact with this collagen of blood vessel, then 12th inactive factor becomes active. This active 12th factor stimulates the 11th factor. Becomes active. This 11th factor in turn activates the 9th factor, which is already present in the blood as inactive form. Now this 9th factor which becomes active in turn stimulates the 10th factor to become active. This 10th factor releases thromboplastin, which in turn forms prothrombin activator. Again, this prothrombin activator is ready to trigger step number 2. This is the first step of blood clotting. Now the second step. In the second step, this prothrombin activator stimulates the prothrombin to convert to thrombin. This prothrombin is present in inactive form, and we have got thrombin. This step trigger step number 3rd. This thrombin stimulate fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is a soluble protein which is present in the blood. This fibrinogen in the presence of thrombin is converted to fibrin monomer. These monomers are insoluble. Now, by polymerization, these monomers are converted to long thread of fibrin polymer which is insoluble. Whenever platelet gets ruptured by these 3 steps, the network of fibrin polymer is formed at the ruptured site in which RBC, WBC, platelets and other components are entangled, and in this way a clot is formed. This is the mechanism of blood clotting. In short, we can say that at the time of tissue damage or breaking of platelet, thromboplastin is released. This thromboplastin, in the presence of 7th and 10th factor and calcium ion, forms prothrombin activator. This is our step number 1. This prothrombin activator converts inactive prothrombin to active thrombin. This is our step number 2. This thrombin converts fibrinogen, which is a soluble protein, to fibrin, which is insoluble, which results in the formation of clot. This is our step number 3. One more thing related to blood clotting is anticoagulant. Anticoagulants are the substances which prevent blood clotting. Blood is flowing in our blood vessels and it is present in the liquid state. There are some anticoagulants which prevent the clotting of blood in our blood vessels. These substances are known as anticoagulants. For example, heparin. Heparin is present in our blood vessels and is secreted by mast cell. It doesn't allow the formation of thrombin. This thrombin formation is inhibited by the formation of antithrombin. That means heparin stimulates the formation of antithrombin, because of which blood clot is not formed in our blood vessels. Second anticoagulant is hirudin. It is present in the saliva of leech and it also helps to prevent blood clotting. Whenever blood sample is taken for our diagnosis, then we need that blood in liquid condition only, otherwise a clot is formed from which we cannot perform our required test. So anticoagulant like hirudin may be added. Another example of anticoagulant is warfarin. This warfarin inhibits the factors which are responsible for the first step, like factor 2nd, factor 7th, factor 9th and factor 10th. When these factors are not available, then obviously our second step will not be stimulated. So blood clotting will be prevented. We can also prevent blood clotting by keeping the blood at low temperature, because at low temperature many different reactions are inhibited, because of which clot is not formed. In this way, blood clotting is a multi-step process and there are substances which prevent blood clottings in blood vessels, or whenever we require blood to be in that position only, we can add anticoagulant.